Hey guys, Ebenstar back here again, and again wanted to start a little series about first-time gamers, folks that are new to the hobby. So, just putting ourselves in the shoes of a first-time gamer. You just went to your hobby store and you tried out this game, and you're so into it. And you're going to buy it, and you're going to play it, and you can't believe how amazing the miniatures are, and you just want to keep buying and buying miniatures, and you're going to just focus in on that. And then you leave the store, you buy your miniatures, you leave the store, you find out that this hobby is going to take a lot more time and a lot more money than you thought it would, but you're already $100-150 in. Why stop now? And you keep spending and spending. You realize later that your army wasn't what you wanted, or that in fact the game might even not be what you wanted, and you're in the hole. And that's something that happens to new gamers, and the unfortunate truth of it is we've met some gamers over the years that have gone through that and stopped gaming. I mean, just stopped playing tabletop games, period, for a number of years. And a lot of times they do come back, which is nice. Some years later, they'll come back and realize that they need to be a little bit wiser about their purchasing, and not so impulsive. So anyway, we're going to talk about, as a first-time gamer, your first trip to the store. And when you first come to the store, you're going to be so impressed with the miniatures and the games and how enthusiastic everyone is. And you might even run into some guys that are already playing the game. So you think, okay, I've got some people to play the game with now. All I need to do is go out and pick up a box of miniatures or a set of miniatures. And I'm here to tell you that, honestly, the first time you encounter a game or a hobby, particularly the tabletop hobby, is if at all possible, your first time in the store, your first introduction to a game or a game demo, do not buy anything, if at all possible. Fight the urge to buy stuff. Do not buy anything, even if the guy behind the counter is helping you, or your friends are there and they're telling you, oh, you buy this and I'll buy this next week, because that can hurt really bad when things don't pan out and you're stuck with stuff like the pile of shame, which was the last video. Having said that, I know, having been in your shoes, that you're gonna buy stuff. You're gonna buy stuff. Some advised, some ill-advised. You're going to buy stuff that you think looks cool, or you think is going to play well, and you're going to come home and there is a fairly good chance that you're not going to end up playing it. But anyway, if you are going to buy something, if you are, which again I highly recommend that you don't, what you should buy before any miniatures, honestly, is a rulebook. You can buy a rulebook for the game that you want to try. That's Warhammer 40K. So you could buy a rulebook, or you could buy like a War Machine rulebook, and you could buy your army book if you're playing one of these games like 40K or War Machine, or you could buy the Malifaux rulebook, or whatever. Now here's something that they may not explain to you at the store level, because ultimately, and stores, folks that work at stores are great. People that work at the hobby stores are always great personalities, good hobbyists, good gamers. But you have to bear in mind that they're still trying to make a sale. But some of the things that they won't tell you is, in some cases, depending on the game, in some cases, you can get your hands on a rulebook for free or for nothing. And in one case, like this is Blood Bowl, this is free downloaded rules. And in fact, these rules are used over the rules that are in the Blood Bowl box set. So you can get a full rulebook for free. In fact, the official competition rulebook for free. You can do some reading on the rules. You can even look at what type of team you want to play. And then you can really start making some wise decisions about the next time you pop into that store, what you're going to buy, what you need to buy, and so on. And that didn't cost you anything other than the paper to print it out. There are other rules out there, for example, Malifaux, who had an earlier rule book that's actually still in some stores. But unfortunately, that rule book has been updated, and it's been errated, and it's been changed, and there have since been 2 new books printed, but the core rules have changed from that original book. So what you really need to do for Malifaux, if you're going to pick up this game, is you can actually review the rules online for free. That's another nice thing that a company like Weird does, is you can have access to the rules online. You can also, if you don't want to spend $35 on the main rulebook, which, by the way, not current, you spend $15 and buy yourself this compact rules, which they've cleaned everything up. They're going to be updating again, actually, and it's just a lot cheaper. So making an informed purchase like this is going to save you some money as well. You can also, for Malifaux, you can even look at least some of the statistics for some of the crews online, and make more decisions about purchasing by looking at statistics online and looking at the rulebook. So without having spent a dime for a game like Malifaux, you can be already into the rulebook. You could be looking at potential crews, and that's something that you can do without even having gone in the store. But again, you know, we're all human. We're gamers. We have that. I guess, adrenaline rush, or that sheer joy when we see a set of miniatures that we want to own. So, you know, I really like Collodi. I'm going to play this Collodi crew. So you bring home a box set. You find out how many points it's worth. You paint it up, and you know, your first time out, you have a really hard time, because Collodi is one of those more advanced masters that takes a little time. So you lose interest a little bit, and you start looking at other miniatures, and you're like, oh my god, I have to buy the Colette box set because Colette is so cool. And so you buy that set, you bring it home, paint it up, and then the same thing happens. Very complicated master to learn. Although I love both of these crews, but for a first-time tabletop gamer, maybe not the best choice. I have this War Machine army here, and this is I kind of wanted to throw this in also as a pile of shame type thing. I bought a whole set, or you know, an okay-sized War Machine force, at least enough to get started, based on some recommendations from a very friendly store staff who I had assured him I'm going to be playing this game and I'm really into this game. So he made some recommendations, and he helped me put together what I needed to buy to build this Adeptus Ron crew. So bought what I needed, bought the rule books, bought the templates, bought the tokens, bought everything I needed for the game, painted everything up, and then all of a sudden Malifaux comes in, and I'm like, wow, this is a much better game, and sadly have not played this army at all. Just never. It's still in the. I mean, I had to unpack it and just to shoot the video, which is sad. They've still never seen a live battlefield, and those are the sort of things that I'm trying to help the new gamer avoid, because especially early on when you start a hobby, you're going to need that money, those resources into buying some other things like glue, like paints, like brushes, like primer, sealer, all of that stuff that at the hobby store they don't really tell you, or they don't really include as part of the expense of getting into the hobby. And these are important things to keep in mind. So really, that's it. You know, the main thing, we'll talk starting from the very beginning. When you try out a game, you're at a store, main advice, don't buy anything. If you are going to buy something, buy a rule book. Try and fight your will, fight your strongest desires to pick up miniatures. Unless, of course, you're a painter. If you are a die-hard painter, I mean, you're going to have as much value in painting up a miniature as you are reading the rules or fielding that miniature. There's a lot of guys out there that just end up really just enjoying painting, and their money is well spent because they can just buy any miniature that's visually appealing to them. They don't have to care about rules or factions or which army it belongs to. They're just going to paint it up and have a good time. One other bit of advice before I wrap this up. When you are going to get into a hobby, make sure that you have close and reliable friends that will be able to pick up the hobby with you. And I'm not talking about that guy that says, well, I get paid in a couple months and I'll buy his stuff then. That's not a reliable guy to start with, because ideally you do want to start with a group of 2 or more people starting a game at the same time. That's very important. You don't want to, well, I mean, it's not the best way to go about it, but it's not a very, let's say, nice experience to jump into a veteran gaming group, particularly if they're a highly competitive, highly advanced gaming group, because you're going to get your face smashed in quite a bit early on. And some gamers are okay with that, especially if you're a really competitive player, you will appreciate it. But a lot of gamers are just here for casual gaming, and so that can end up being a bad experience. Anyway, that's the first bit of advice, or the first part of this series, is 1, try not to buy anything. 2, get a group. If you don't have a group, find a group before you buy anything. And that's it. We're just going to keep moving along this series. Thanks.